So Jordan Whitehead was ranked higher than Jamal Adams in this strong safety box safety rankings. We are going to get into it. Hey, what's going on? I am Matt O'Leary. I'm back with another video. Before we get started today, I just want to mention you can follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out Just Jets. New episodes drop every single Monday of that podcast. You also have bonus content going on over on Patreon. You got new episodes of Exit 16 West, a Jets podcast every Thursday with a new guest. And then on Fridays, you get articles, player breakdowns, and big plans coming for the regular season when that rolls around. So PFF ranked box safeties, and PFF, they're very big on the rankings. We know this. We appreciate their rankings, but they ranked box safeties, and here's how the top three went. Ready? Budda Baker 1. No complaints. Budda is a very, very good safety. Number 2, Jordan Whitehead. Hey, that's someone new the Jets brought in. Love that. Joe Douglas bringing in the number 2 box safety in the NFL. And then, number 3, Jamal Adams. Old friend of the show, Jamal Adams. So just comparing the two and what they did last year, specifically in coverage, and then their contracts, they were relatively similar production. But when you realize that Jamal played 2 less games, it makes Whitehead's a little bit more impressive. So 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for a 72-2 coverage grade from Jordan Whitehead in 2021 as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Seattle Seahawks and Jamal Adams, obviously, that's where he plays for. 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 47-4 coverage grade. Not the best. Now, when you take into account what these two guys are getting paid, value-wise, there's one guy that's obviously on pretty good value, the other not so much. The Jamal Adams contract, $70 million over 4 years for a $7.5 million AAV. That's a lot of cash. Versus Jordan Whitehead, who is 14.5 divided by 2 over 2 years, which is a 7.25 AAV for at minimum similar production from the coverage. Obviously, we know Whitehead is very good in the run game. That's going to help. He's obviously not the blitzer that Jamal Adams is. And I don't necessarily want this to be like a Jamal, he's not an NFL caliber player. No, he is. He's a very good player. But the point with Whitehead is that he's at least a comparable level player to what Jamal is, and he's making significantly less. Do we realize here the kind of what Seattle is going through after giving up the assets to acquire Jamal Adams to then pay him that mega deal? It was never, ever, ever, ever going to be worth it. But this is the approach that I like for the safety position. Whitehead is a good player, a very good player. He's young. He's in his mid-20s. Jamal's a little bit older at this point now. He's going to be 27 this year, but it's still relatively in his prime for the position. But you're talking about $7 million versus $17.5 million. It's a gigantic difference, and they're at least comparable. So I'm excited to see Jordan Whitehead get on the field for this New York Jets team. I think he is going to significantly impact the run game here because, let's face it, this Jets run defense stunk in 2021. In 2022, I think they will be more improved. They're not going to be an elite level defense, not yet. I don't think. I think they are definitely further behind on defense than they are on offense, which is a very unique thing for us as Jet fans. We don't get to see that very often. Usually it's the other way around, but I will sign up for the inverse of that for a change. But Whitehead is going to be a good player, and if he stinks, you move on. I don't think he's going to, but he'll be at an age where you could feel comfortable about extending him if you really wanted to, or maybe you just use him for the 2 years and you move on from that point. But Whitehead, I'm confident in. The rest of the safety room, really not so much. Pinnock maybe will get a chance to start. I thought he looked okay down the stretch last year. LaMarcus Joyner is the veteran who was supposed to start, but he really hasn't played a lot in the last 2 years. So while I think he is probably on paper the next best safety, I don't know what he's going to be because he has not played that many games over the last 2 years. And we know Ashton Davis cannot play at this level. So I'm all the way out on Ashton Davis. I don't want to see him on the football field. But yeah, when looking at Jamal Adams versus Jordan Whitehead, gotta love Whitehead ranking above him. And look, even if you don't necessarily agree with PFF's ranking here, the fact that they're at minimum in the same conversation just shows you the difference, like value wise. That stuff matters when you're building out a roster. And if you want to allocate almost $20 million to the safety position, that's okay. But they better be a far and away elite level player, which Adams with the Jets, especially his last 2 years with the Jets in his second and third year in the NFL, was an elite level player. The last 2 years, has he been an elite guy in Seattle? Not really. He had the massive sack numbers in 2020, which was good, but coverage was really bad. And this past year, the sack numbers went down, and he just wasn't nearly as effective. And I don't see that team being competitive, which is the irony here is that he forced his way out with the New York Jets to get into a team that's going to compete for the playoffs. And they made the playoffs his first year. And then they didn't after that. And it doesn't look like they're going to anytime soon, as they're going to go through a little bit of a rebuild process. So irony is very funny. I like irony. So that's going to do it for me today. Gotta love Jordan Whitehead ranking above Jamal Adams. Let me know. Do you believe that? Do you think Whitehead's the better player? What's your expectations for him? Sound off in the comments below. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.